Welcome to Every Dollar Counts with Josh and Jay, a shot of true serum for your investment and insurance questions. I am Josh Knoll, the owner of Gulf Coast Financial Advisors, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Jay Stubbs, Regional Director for First Protective. We are brought to you on the Prime Capital Investment Advisors Podcast Network. So, Jay, our podcasts typically center around money, investments, insurance. Things have changed a little bit.
They've changed a great bit, Josh.
Yeah, we normally don't timestamp these, but I think we should in this case. We're recording this episode on March 24th, 2020. In case you haven't noticed, things have changed a little bit with the stock market, coronavirus, just crisis kind of all across the globe in certain situations. So in recognition of this reality, Jay and I decided to put together a series of episodes featuring local business owners that I think are going to provide you, the listener, some practical advice to navigating this time of crisis with your business or your occupation. So on that note, our guest for this episode is Marcus Neto. He is the owner and founder of Bluefish. He also hosts a podcast called the Mobile, Alabama Business Podcast. It's a huge thing down here and actually all across Southeast. Marcus is going to lay out some practical advice for helping people overcome obscurity with their business, with their service, and leveraging technology and platforms. Before we get into all that, though, let's have our friends from Sloth Racer Band kick us off. Jay, Marcus, how y'all doing?
Doing really well, man.
Good to be here. Good to be with Marcus and you too, Josh. Unprecedented times, very fluid, as Cam Marson said earlier today on his radio show. Very fluid moments, lots of things going on, so we need to stay on top of this stuff.
Well, Marcus, I'm going to jump to you, but first I got to do a little quick thing for compliance. Jay Stubbs and First Protective are not affiliated with Prime Capital Investment Advisors or with Gulf Coast Financial Advisors, and Josh Knoll is not affiliated with First Protective. So, Marcus, I want to...
I'm not affiliated with either one of those.
We're all just professional buddies.
You are now.
Well,
just kidding.
I'll keep it clean. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, for folks that are not familiar with Bluefish, before we dive into this, tell us a little bit about Bluefish.
Yeah, so Bluefish is an advertising agency located here in Mobile that I own, but we do work nationally. So we've got clients from California to New York to Naples, Florida. And we've been in existence since 2008. Really started as a web design shop, web development shop, but we've grown into a full service agency. So everything from, naming a company, branding it, all the way to placing digital advertising or traditional media, can handle everything in between: videography, content strategy, Facebook, social media, advertising, all that kind of stuff.
Well, that is, to me, all of the things you just said, I need to break that down. Can you just tweak somebody's logo?
Yeah, for sure.
If I have a crappy website, can you make it better? And if I am looking for a little bit of social media presence, is that something that you can point me in the right direction?
Absolutely.
That's all I need to know.
Was that important?
It's, so many people think that, in order to have an advertising agency on their side, that they need a $250,000 budget or something along those lines. The truth is that we're uniquely positioned here in Mobile to be able to help people, with not a whole lot of money. But one of the things that, I find, that I keep repeating over and over again is just the importance of advertising and marketing to a company. If you're looking to exist, or if you're looking to grow your business, I guess is the best way to put it, then you have to put that investment into it. And, so many people here in the area just don't.
Nationally?
I'm focusing here locally because that's what I know best. But yeah, nationally, I think it's a little bit more, especially in urban areas. So, DC, which is where I'm from, or, New York City, LA, those kinds of areas. They're going to know that they have to go into starting a business with a budget set aside for, advertising. But people here, for whatever reason, just think, I'm going to open my doors and people will come. And it's like, not really, or maybe they will come, but they won't come as much as if more people knew about you. So
another aspect of that I think is amazing, that some businesses that have well established, maybe second, third generation businesses, still do not have a robust online presence.
Right.
Some of those business owners may say, we don't need that or whatever. But in this time of in-person social distancing, if you don't think that has not been brought to light immediately, that people with time on their hands right now are clicking on links through all social media platforms and saying, you know what, I do need to have some of this stuff now.
Yeah.
I need to get out there and have a presence. They need to be reaching out to somebody like you and Bluefish and your team.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. But yeah, especially right now, I hate to say like a knee-jerk reaction, oh, by the way, buy my product during a time of crisis. But the reality is, those people that spend money on advertising in these types of times are the ones that exit out of these growing. And if they don't, oftentimes they're the ones that end up having to shutter their business and find something else to do. And so while I don't like, preying on people, and, obviously, I have a business to run and I'm worried about the people that I'm employing and stuff like that. The truth is that we are uniquely positioned to help people stay in front of their audience and, get them to come in, or maybe set them up with an online presence that allows them to continue sales when they can't have people in a store.
Well, Jay and I couldn't figure out who we stole this quote from, so we're attributing it to Ben Franklin. Brands are built in a time of crisis, which I think actually is something you said, because I think that right now, if you were in a business where you relied on either walk-in traffic or referrals and you really didn't put a whole lot out there, hopefully you're doing okay. But the reality of it is you're probably a little surprised at how quickly things got quiet.
Yep.
Right? And I think that we've talked about this, you and I did on another webinar, as opposed to other past financial crises, 2008, 2001, 1991, all that. Back then, yes, you had technology. You had the ability to stay connected with people, but nothing like that is today.
No. And everybody's eyeballs are on their phones right now. So if you're a business and you're not, and let's be clear, like I'm not talking about being shady or doing things where you're preying on people or price gouging or any of those things. What I'm talking about is legitimately just, making people aware of the idea that you exist, whatever it is that you're offering, whether it's goods or services, and then also just, helping them understand, how you're operating, if you can purchase online, where to do that, all those kinds of things.
It says in big, bold letters on your website, Marcus, we help businesses overcome obscurity.
Yep.
And nothing is more important now for any type of business, no matter who your target market is to have an online presence and to have your brand established so that people can search you out, read more about you, get to know you a little bit better, because the connectivity is going to be very important in this time that we're living in.
Well, I mean, let's call a spade here. I mean, Marcus, you're on a show that typically talks about money and insurance and investments, but we intentionally wanted to have something where we thought we could really help people right now. Right now, the only thing people are thinking about their 401k is, where's all my money going, right? So we can talk about those things, and we put that information out in a way to help.
Here, I'll solve that one for them.
What do you got?
As long as they don't take their money out of the 401k, they haven't lost it.
Thank you.
Right?
We've said that several episodes ago. It's not a loss until you actually execute the transaction to sell the position.
Exactly.
But I think this is a real opportunity for someone that is trying to build their brand. Well, if you build your brand right now, if you build your brand anytime and all it comes across as salesy, that's a tough time to build a brand any era. But I think if you got an opportunity right now to be out there and be someone that's actually trying to help, right?
Yeah.
I think that matters.
Yeah. I mean, for those of you that are familiar with Bluefish, we have a weekly vlog that we do. We put out content, on a regular basis. I'm saying, besides the weekly vlog, we do a couple of other pieces of content during the week. We also have a podcast, the Mobile, Alabama Business Podcast that Josh mentioned as the intro. And so we put out a ton of content. And so it's not going to be abnormal for us to be in front of people, next Monday when Marketing Madness drops. It won't be abnormal, although I think we are currently out of episodes of the podcast, and we've kind of put that on hiatus for a hot minute, just while this kind of cools down a little bit. But it won't be abnormal for people to see content coming out from us, because we are diligent in doing that. We have a strategy that we've put forth. We have a calendar that we stick to. We know what's going out when, and we've planned ahead, oftentimes weeks in advance for that content and, when it's going to hit. So, but you're right. Like if somebody hasn't done those things, then it's going to seem a little bit weird. But, there's a way to do it for sure.
So I go to your website, bluefishhds.com, and I scroll down a little bit and I see Marketing Madness, the name of the vlog, and I've got a link there to look at all the episodes you've got. So what an awesome way to reach out to people.
Yeah, that's all free. If you're listening to this, those videos are all free. They're transcribed too. So if you prefer to read instead of watch, you can, but those cover everything from search engine optimization to, content management systems, social media, advertising, everything, content strategy. So if you have any questions, if you're a business owner and you have any questions, that's a good place to start. We also have a lot of articles on our blog. So you could go there and, read about those as well. But I think the one thing that I wanted to kind of, talk about today. You invited me on, so I'm going to just take a second if you don't mind. But, I think every business owner right now is kind of going through this playbook in their minds about, like, how am I going to handle this? What do I need to do? And of course, if you are, a restaurant or a gym or, bar, you've been put in a really kind of a, I'm just going to say it, a really shitty position, And so, there are ways for you to kind of ease into having a presence on social media, online, that will work and will actually make you money. And then after all of this is done, you'll actually be in a much better position against your competitors. And I think that's the big thing is like, make sure that you're, obviously do the fundamentals, right? Make sure that your cash flow is good. Make sure you've got the right people on board. Let go of the people that you can let go, but don't be, a jerk about it. And then look at your expenses and things like that to make sure that you've cut all that stuff. Maybe even apply for the Small Business Administration, loan that's been making the rounds through the chamber and stuff like that. Those are things that you as a business owner should be taking care of. But as far as advertising goes, like, don't wait. Like, if you haven't already done something online in order to like communicate with your clients and stuff like that, then you're already you're not too late. Like, start now, but there's no time like the present to get, started on communicating with your audience.
Well, on that note, Marcus, I want to just lay out a little bit of the journey that actually led me to you and led you to be on this show at this point. Jay and I come from an industry, I don't know if you've heard, but financial services and financial advice.
Tell me, Josh.
Is a little behind the times when it comes
I hadn't heard
to content marketing. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, sarcasm.
Yeah, sarcasm, the big compliance word. That's you and I first started talking, and I kind of laid out all the obstacles I had ahead of me, and you helped me navigate that. But the point of that is that in that industry, in a lot of other industries, a lot of people right now have either hesitated to put themselves out there to start building their personal brand, or they haven't felt comfortable, or they haven't felt the need, right? I mean, do you feel like right now is a real opportunity for someone? Jay and I, there's an old joke in our line of work. The best time to start investing was 20 years ago or today, right?
Yep.
Do you feel like there's a real opportunity for somebody that's sitting there right now listening to this podcast saying, I've never done a video. I've never done a podcast. I don't even have a Facebook business page. How do you start a YouTube channel? How do I clean up my website? Do you think this is a real opportunity to take some of that time and jump on this?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, so normally when I tell people, like, you have to have a website, start there, buy a domain name, get a website set up, create a Facebook page. It's literally 4 steps to create a Facebook page. That allows you to start communicating with people on Facebook. Put some money behind your posts on Facebook. If you're familiar with the word boosting, make sure that you're boosting some posts. Taking that to the next level would be creating ads on Facebook. That's usually a little bit more complicated than what business owners want to take on, and so they usually hire an agency like us. But just having a website, having a presence on Facebook or Instagram, if you really want to start, networking and meeting some people, then maybe start thinking about a podcast. Or if you're in a specialty niche that isn't covered yet, then that would be a great thing. If you can do videos or something along those lines, then great. I oftentimes tell people, go ahead and start with your phone. And we're going to be putting together like a free little download for people that tells them how to do video better on their phone. And the reason why is because I think so many times people feel like they need to have all this expensive equipment and lights and stuff like that. Yeah, Bluefish, we use those things, but I also have a team of people that can put together those videos. I'm not doing that. And so, but for the average, business owner, just having a phone is good enough, maybe some, a window or something like that to give you some better lighting. But, the video on Facebook is a very powerful thing. They like video, especially live video. So the hierarchy of importance to Facebook is live video, then video that's been uploaded, then images, and then posts with just regular content. If if you're going to put anything out there, it behooves you to kind of like take that into consideration, because the algorithms dictate those pieces of content, will get more exposure that have like live video or video versus just a content with posts.
Well, and Jay and I had mentioned this earlier in a previous podcast. I mean, all the work that we did over the last couple of years, which in large part was with a lot of your inspiration and guidance. So I'm giving you
checks in the mail.
Yeah, checks in the mail. All that work that we put in over the last year and a half, 2 years, these last 2 weeks, I have felt more connected to all my clients, potential clients, than ever. It's crazy. Yeah. Now, somebody's not going to listen to this podcast, go on social media right now and just have that immediate pop. Or maybe they will. It takes a little bit of time, But my point of that is
it's a process, not an event.
It's a process, not an event. Yeah. And so my point is, I think now is the time. If you're really going to attack this thing, because let's all be honest, we're big boys. This is our first rodeo going through a recession or a downturn. This is our first time maybe going through something this severe with the virus. But in the past, when we were going through those things, we attacked it. Yeah, we treated it not as an opportunity to go in and maybe take business from other people or an opportunity to sell some things that people may not need because they're scared, but really as an opportunity to establish yourself as someone that has valuable information in a time of crisis so people will turn to you when their lives get back to normal.
Yeah.
Well, we've kind of been obliterated. This whole epidemic, coronavirus, has obliterated many things about normal life. I've said that before. And it's clear we're going to be living like this for a while. So you might as well get to work on some of the things that we're talking about, specifically getting that brand and that online presence.
Yeah, I hope this isn't news to anybody. This is not just a 1 or 2 week long thing. This is, the information that I'm getting, and I sit on the board for the Mobile Chamber and some other things, but the information that I'm getting is that this is probably a 4 or 5 month long, issue that we're going to be dealing with. And so you need to plan accordingly. Doesn't mean that we'll necessarily be quarantined for that long. Maybe we're quarantined for 3 weeks, 4 weeks or something along those lines. But I think in the grand scheme of things, dealing with this is a longer play than a shorter.
Time is on our hands, Marcus.
Yeah.
Might as well make good use of it.
I hear that.
Well, and as you and I have talked before, I'm not recommending somebody just sit there, stays glued on social media all day, because a lot of the stuff out there can be pretty negative. On the flip side of that, I think I would prefer if they'd use the word physical distancing, because it's really on us right now. We don't have to be socially distanced from our family or friends. I know it's not the same seeing a FaceTime video of your mom as being next to her, but that may be what we have to get used to for a while. And if you can either embrace that and tackle it and become an expert in that, or you can kind of get left behind. Because I think one of the things that you've always been really good about is, people are looking for your services. Are you appearing?
Yep.
So everything you just talked about, as we're starting to wind the show down, how does that play into SEO? How does that play into being found, overcoming obscurity?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to go back and say, they may not immediately be looking for your services, but they may like what you have to say. And you want to set yourself up. I've always been of the mindset that be the best that you can be in whatever it is that you're doing. So it's the old adage of, if you're a garbage collector, be the best garbage collector. If you're the president, be the best president. And so if you do that, if you take that to mind, then when you put content out there and you're recording videos and doing the things like what we do, then you're trying to set yourself up as the expert that people might, find interesting, or maybe they check in every once in a while. And so that's the premise that you should be taking. Educate, people, kind of help them understand what it is that you do. Don't necessarily be trying to close, people on social media. It doesn't work. And just, one of the things that I would just say in closing, the Small Business Administration used to have an article on their website that said that businesses under $5 million need to be spending 7 to 8% of their gross annual revenue on advertising. And that's not salaries. That's actually spending, money on, radio, TV, social media, websites, brochures, business cards, things of that nature, trade show, booths, and stuff like that. And so if you're not spending 7 to 8%, then figure out what the percentage is. And, at least it has to be something. It can't be zero, right? If it's zero, then you're in trouble. But if you can figure out what it is and then slowly increase that over a period of time, using, mechanisms to track whether it's bringing you a return on investment and stuff like that, then you'll actually start to see that benefit. Like, for instance, Bluefish has grown, roughly 65% every year for the last 3 or 4 years. And we were set to do that again this year, and I'm still hopeful that we can do that. And the reason why is because we have put an absolute emphasis on advertising our services and making sure that people are educated on what it is that we do.
Well, I can tell you from experience, the financial services industry is a 10% norm. You want to spend 10%. So your 7 to 8 in our world is a little conservative. So I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
Marcus, what's the best way for somebody to say hello to you and Bluefish?
They can email me, Marcus, Marcus, at bluefishds.com. That's D as in dog, S as in September.com. Or they can check us out at bluefishds.com. And that would be the best way to get a hold of us.
On all the social media platforms, as you can imagine. So you can find them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. Marcus is out there.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you, I can tell you from experience, if you're a business owner in Mobile area, Baldwin County, and you go on your podcast, somehow magically it comes up as the second or third search result.
Those are secret.
Is that secret?
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
sorry.
no. It's not a secret. We when we started the podcast, we actually transcribed all the interviews, and the reason why we did is because we wanted to outrank people.
You did. It's impressive.
So, but yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, hey man, thanks for coming on. I know you're busy. We
Yep.
appreciate you coming on. So, listeners, I think you've gathered here that we're here to help, and we are attacking this crisis. You can reach out to us to the show, leave a message at 251-327-2124. Plus, you can visit gulfcoastfa.com to catch this episode or any of our other podcasts. Plus, have my contact there. And then Marcus Neto of Bluefish laid out how to get a hold of him. Also, check out the Mobile, Alabama Business Podcast. It's a great show. I've been on it, and he does a wonderful job with that. And then lastly, to all you independent and semi-independent advisors or agents out there looking or listening and interested in the value that Jay Stubbs could bring to your practice, you can find him at jstubbs.com. That's JAYSTUBBS.com. So, fellas, another show in the can. Y'all did a great job. Marcus, thank you again for coming. Jay Stubbs, my co-host.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks our producer, Johnny Gwynn of Deep Fried Studios. And really, thank you all out there that have been joining Jay and I on this journey, and to all of y'all that are joining us now. This has been Every Dollar Counts with Josh and Jay. Advisory services offered through Prime Capital Investment Advisors, LLC, PCIA, a federally registered investment advisor. PCIA, doing business as Prime Capital Wealth Management, PCWM, and Qualified Plan Advisors, QPA. Gulf Coast Financial Advisors is independent of Prime Capital Advisors. Information presented is for educational purposes only, is not an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any securities. All investments involve risk, and unless otherwise stated, be sure to consult a tax professional before implementing any tax or investment strategies.